what's up? Hello millions of viewers of my personal blog. I'm reporting live from the motherfucking Palo Alto, bitch. I'm sitting on a bench on University Avenue in the middle of Silicon Valley, specifically Palo Alto, and I'm gonna take you on a tour down these streets, down these crazy streets of Palo Alto, and we're gonna see some interesting historic spots, and I'll tell you a little bit about basically my let's say my impressions and my overall feeling about Silicon Valley, because I always wanted to come out here and see how it's really like, and see the people and the companies and the whole overall vibe. So finally I have the opportunity to not only be here but also share that with you. So that's pretty cool. So this is Sunday afternoon, about 5 o'clock local time, California time, and basically this is one of the high streets of Palo Alto. This is one of the busiest streets in, let's say, downtown of San Francisco. So there's San Francisco, and then down south from San Francisco is the whole Silicon Valley kind of area, split into different regions like Palo Alto, Mountain View, and Sunnyvale, and others. I think overall this is a pretty damn amazing place, and I think it's not as much to do with the fact that there are all these great companies and all these, you know, fun, exciting tech startups, as much as it's to do with, you know, the community that is in here. And so the community is really made up of a lot of immigrants. I think I mentioned somewhere in my previous videos that about 40% of the people that come around here are actually first generation immigrants. And so behind my back you can see Apple original, or one of the original Apple stores, where today I think you can already buy the Apple Watch. Since I am in Silicon Valley, you can see pretty decent cars all around, such as this Tesla behind my back, and there's fucking shitloads of Teslas here. So yeah, so obviously the place is very advanced in from the perspective of the living standard. It is very high. That's one thing that you definitely feel here, as opposed to any other kind of average place in the US. So that means the prices are high, the quality of service in restaurants, cafes, and places like that is very high. You know, the purchasing ability for the people is obviously very high. I'm not sure what is the average salary here, but you know, for starting kind of graduates in technology, they make as much or as little as $100,000 gross, and so obviously that's reflected in the environment, and so that's pretty cool. What's also interesting here, I've met several companies, visited several companies like Google, Facebook, all the big brands, as well as some smaller startups. We went to also to an accelerator called Plug and Play Tech Accelerator or something like that. And it's funny that it a little bit feels like it's a big, you know, like a big gambling spot where people, a lot of people, especially the ones that are in the startups rather than the big technology corporations, they kind of try to make a bet on you know, potentially developing some kind of next generation application or something, and selling it for shitloads of money, and cashing out and retiring, and that feels sometimes a bit like it's the environment here. And obviously the people here are intelligent, very educated. On average, I suppose they have a master's at least, and so yeah, this is an interesting environment. What else is funny around this this area here is that for sure it has nothing to do with what the rest of the states are like, and it's clearly because of the specific environment in which people live here, which is the technology and stuff like that. So that's always important to bear in mind, that when you come here, you can't make conclusions about the American life by being in Silicon Valley. That doesn't make sense. As I'm walking around here, so yeah, let me take a little turn here. You can see that is where like the Palo Alto Apple store used to be, but now it was moved to where I showed you before. And I was hoping to walk by the office, which was the first office for Google, because it's actually on this street, but I'm not sure if it's ahead of us or behind. And why it is such a famous place is it's not only the office for the first office for Google, but it's also after Google moved out, another company moved in, which is also fairly famous, and a company is called PayPal. So all these super legendary places are just around here, as well as all the legendary people, the entrepreneurs and the big time corporate monsters are all here that work in technology. Obviously, people like Mark Zuckerberg and Tim Cook and all those kind of people, they're just here because that's where they live. So the whole environment and infrastructure is such that there are all these necessary elements for you to be more likely to be successful in this gamble of making a successful company compared to other places in the world. So what I'm saying is, here you have direct shortcut access to venture capital funds, all the biggest names in the venture capital industry. Here you have obviously the Stanford University, which I visited, and that was another thing I wanted to mention. It was a great experience. Stanford University is a total fucking mind blow, because it is very impressive from the architecture perspective, as well as it's really the hotbed for a lot of companies that do business in Silicon Valley. And what's also interesting, especially for Google, is that the whole Google culture, for those of you who know, with all this openness, collaboration, and open workspace and all that stuff, and bicycles within the campus, it all comes from Stanford. So it's no wonder that the two founders of Google, they took their inspiration of how to build the environment for their business from a university, which is where they spent a lot of time in. So what I was saying before, anyway, so this infrastructure is really set up in a way that it makes you more likely to succeed here rather than elsewhere, because the venture capital is here, the Stanford, generator of ideas, and a place where, top level, world level, top quality talent comes from, is also here, and what else is here, and obviously the other technology startups and companies, and the mindset is very open here for people. So all that is, all that makes, or a combination of these elements makes it not easy, but possible to have these massive business success stories. But it doesn't mean that it is impossible to do it elsewhere. That's also a definite conclusion for me, that people here, they deal with the same problems. It's the same nature of business compared to other places in the world. It's just that infrastructure is better here. That's really, at the end of the day, that's really the whole difference. And as such, the area here is amazing because the weather it's great. It's very stable and it's hot. Not hot as in humid, so you're sweating all the time, but it's sunny. But the air is still fresh, and there's wind, so it doesn't feel extremely hot, but the weather is still good and it's sunny. And that's incredible, and that's a big factor actually why people migrate here rather than to other places in the world. And so specifically Silicon Valley and the areas in Silicon Valley, you know, they're very quiet. So Palo Alto is quiet, and the first time I came here I thought it's extremely quiet. It's like, you know, a God's forgotten place compared to San Francisco and compared to just any like average kind of like urban area. But you get used to that, you know, it's fine. But that's also a reason why at the moment there's a kind of a trend for startups to really set up in San Francisco rather than Silicon Valley. You know, it's more active out there in the city as opposed to you know, the more quiet areas here in Palo Alto and stuff. And so yeah, that's another observation. But overall, this is a pretty amazing place. Definitely worth visiting and definitely worth checking out to get some inspiration for what's possible. And generally it's a cool place because of the weather and the sun and everything like that. And also today, and I'm going to do a different post on this one, I went to the Tesla, what is it, Tesla like a showroom, and which is just basically nearby here, and the whole Tesla factory is actually here also. So everything is fucking here. Anyway, so and the Tesla showroom was great to check out. I finally managed to push the touchscreen, the massive touchscreen panel in Tesla Model S, I think it's called, and yeah. So, but unfortunately, yeah, you can't buy Tesla or you can buy Tesla in Latvia or anywhere in Europe, but mostly the guarantee is not going to work. It's not going to be covered unless you're in Germany or Norway or other more kind of major countries like that, which is a pity. So we're waiting for Tesla to come into the third world countries. So yeah, that's pretty much it today. I'll be reporting soon from a completely different place called Omaha, which is in the state of Nebraska. I don't know how to pronounce it, where I will be hooking up with none other than Warren Buffett, my dear mentor and an inspiration for me. And so hopefully that experience, which will be end of next week, will also be great because there's the annual shareholder meeting that Berkshire Hathaway, which is the company that Warren Buffett is the head of, is organizing every year. But yeah, that will come soon. That will come soon. So that's pretty much it for today. Hope you enjoy this stuff. Speak to you soon.